I keep hearing this phrase, grow the game. I'm confused. You got to help me out here. I mean, we're going to get fired. We may get a little fired up here. You're going to get a little fired up. So, all right, I'm going to throw you the mic here. Go ahead. Talk to me.
The grow the game is something that these guys keep saying over and over again on television. So Monahan, the commissioner of the PGA Tour, all the Golf Channel guys, they're on-air talent, the PGA Tour players, particularly Rory, who's been carrying the mantle up until really Tiger took it at the Open. But I suspect Tiger's going to fade away quickly. Actually, he's absolutely going to fade away off of this because he's not even going to play golf for a long time. So Rory, I guess, will pick back up being the chief LIV basher, or maybe not. Maybe not. He did change the tone in Ireland a couple weeks back, so maybe that will continue. But in any event, they keep saying, well, the PGA Tour is about growing the game. The R&A CEO, the R&A is about growing the game around the world. The PGA of America says that, the USGA says that, and all those guys have an important seat at the official World Golf Ranking table. And my stupid button keeps getting pushed, and I want to throw something at the television because what does it mean? You think you could bother to define what grow the game means before you beat us over the head with it? And because I wrote down, well, it could mean two things at least. And I wrote down what I thought, because they're totally different. Grow the game, meaning grow your audience, grow the audience for professional golf. Because if the NFL said grow the game, that's what they would mean. Oh, we need to expand our audience. Okay, so grow the game, meaning expand your audience or enhance your position in the pro sports world. Or different than that, the other definition of grow the game is increase the number of people who are going to play the game. Well, those two things are completely different. And at first glance, it's, I think, fairly easy to tell which organizations would be more concerned with which one of those definitions. It seems to me that the PGA of America, representing club professionals, lots of them, who are making their living giving lessons and selling junior clinics and selling equipment, and out there putting together little hit and giggle tournaments that are these mixed foursome stuff. And all over the country, this is going on in North America and the UK and Ireland, Scotland, places like that. That's growing the game. USGA would be the same exact interest. So we got PGA of America, USGA, R&A is doing the same thing. They're a lookalike organization of the USGA over in Europe, essentially, and globally. So those three entities, all with the board seat at the official World Golf Rankings, would want to increase the number of people playing the game. Well, guess what? The PGA Tour and LIV Golf could both just disappear tomorrow, and people would still play golf. So you could very easily have a situation in the world some point in the future where more and more people are playing golf, as we saw during COVID, because it was a chance to get outside. And yet fewer and fewer people are watching professional golf or even playing professional golf. That is certainly possible. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible. So this idea of growing the game, meaning two very different things, is, I think, a big deal for somebody to stand up and define it, please. And I happen to know or believe that you, the PGA Tour, when you say that, you mean grow your audience. And yeah, when you poop all over LIV as a competitor, yeah, clearly they're not, well, in your mind at least, they're not going to help you grow your audience for your product. Okay, that could be true. I don't think it's true. I think in a business, from a business point of view, you want a competitor. You need a rival. You can't box against yourself. If you're the dominant team in another sport, it's no fun to watch. Why not have another entity that has a great number of good players, and you have a great number of good players, and you go at it, and you're different, So and that seems to be what's shaping up.
Which we've got two definitions. We're going to grow the fans, or we're going to grow the players. Are they mutually exclusive, or do we try to do it together? What are we going to try to accomplish if I'm the PGA Tour?
Yeah. Well, do you going to answer your own question, or do you want me to take a
Well,
shot at it?
I think if I'm the PGA Tour, you know what? I need the feeders. I need to grow players. I need to get the high school kids out there. I need to have and they're doing a pretty good job along with the Golf Channel, creating college as really, there's some exciting events. There's some events in college I look forward to watching. And I think I've discussed previously, though, the one thing that I think is hurting the game, we're losing fans. I think we're losing fans. I think the PGA is losing fans because of the dilution of the product. And I think this is where we've touched on things. This week, the 3M, I'm going to be a little angry if I'm Matt Every and they gave a spot to Marty Fish. And I like Marty Fish. I used to watch a lot of tennis. But he did take a spot away from a PGA player. And that's a short-term fix to get a few fans. But, like I said, in their definition of growing the game, is that going to help in the long run? I don't think so. So let's talk first. I want to talk first about the fans. Because I think fans are ultimately, what I consider growing a game, growing a professional sport. What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I think when you say that, and you're going to be, your comments are self-serving, no doubt. Your job is to expand your audience if you're an entertainer, and these are all entertainment products. So yes, and that's fine. That's 100% fine. The rub that I have, and what gets me animated, is they are implying, at least, if not outright trying to say to the world, to the viewing audience, that they have a moral high ground over a competitive tour like LIV because they are trying to expand the game for everybody, as if to say that we are helping, junior players play, and we're expanding the opportunities for people in other developing countries to play golf, and isn't that great? And we have programs, and we have this, and we have that, and so we're taking the moral high ground here. But that's not what's happening. They're simply trying to grow their audience. And you nailed it. They're creating a feeder system so that little kids, when they're 6, 7, 8 years old, pick up a golf club, go to a club pro, take lessons, learn the game, go to high school, play golf, go to college, play golf, and then ascend if you're good enough, very good, because it's a tiny minority that gets to the pro level in golf. You go there. And then so they have more great athletes and a better product. That's what they mean when they say grow the game. And fine. That's totally fine. We understand. And it's applause, right? That's how you do business, sure. But don't tell us that you're in some morally advantageous position because you're trying to expand it for everybody. You're not. And you shouldn't necessarily. You can, but you don't have to. Just be straight with us. Be honest about what you're trying to do there, Jay Monahan. Nobody likes to be lied to. And so I take great exception to that. And that really is the entirety of the issue. I would like to maybe veer off in another related direction, and I'd like your thoughts. If that's all true, and I think it is, about growing the game, what's LIV doing? Do they have a different view of it? And is it possible to not only grow your audience, which they certainly must do or they'll go away, and also increase the number of people who are playing golf or interested in recreational golf? Can you do both? And is that possible? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think LIV has a different approach, and they have two things. I think I've dubbed them the personality tour, free speech, personality, and I think you're going to have more personalities on the LIV tour, and you're going to potentially, with Faraday, and there's rumors about Charles Barkley, you're going to have personalities that are going to draw people outside of the typical golf fan. And secondly, You have LIV players being paid. The LIV superstars are being paid. And I don't talk about money maybe as much as you or the gambling, but you have LIV players being paid, pardon me, just like a star baseball player, the $200 million contract. And that's going to make people stand up and take notice. And that's where you're going to get potentially the fan who, well, he really wasn't, or she really wasn't a golf fan. This is not, as we've intimated, this is not football. This is not a gladiator sport. This is still golf. And but now you're on a par with the superstars in the headlines, and I think that's a big difference. So
for sure, and maybe it's not possible for a professional sport. We're using LIV and the PGA Tour here as examples to increase the number of people who play their game at a recreational level. But if you could, or if that happened in parallel and you helped it along, would that expand your audience? Oh, for sure. I mean, for sure. If 100 million new people started playing golf around the world, you'd have a lot more people tuning in to golf, and you'd be expanding the audience that way. But they are not the same thing. I don't know how to do it. Maybe that's a follow-up show, how to get more people to play golf. But I cannot leave this segment of growing the audience without saying that gambling is clearly the best way to try to do that today. And I'm convinced that that's what's going to happen. We'll see, but it's already happening. I mean, I'm not going way out on a limb here, but having it fully integrated into the broadcast or the telecast, the streaming will happen, in my opinion, and that will absolutely bring in a whole bunch of new fans who have never bothered with golf previously. But it's such a good place to bet because of the way the game works. And it's honest. Have never mentioned that on the Thinking Man show. Golf is very hard to cheat. Very hard, because there's no officials that are in the middle of things, calling balls and strikes, calling in and out, calling holding. And we know how absolutely sad it is in the NFL, where you get these calls that determine the outcome of the darn game. And people are aware of that. That's not a secret. The last Super Bowl had that problem. Mysterious holding penalties and stuff like that. That doesn't happen in golf. So it's almost like playing craps. It's an honest bet. Your money's not being manipulated. And that, I think you take that overarching element with TrackMan, Shot Tracer, all these technologies that can provide all this data to the average gambler right on the screen. It's just going to be awesome. And I think that will definitely expand the audience, and some percentage of those people will actually pick up a golf club and go play. So LIV Tour guys, my suggestion, and we are not on your payroll, and this is not a show about golf, make the betting thing work like a home run over, deep out of the park in center field. If it does in your stream, you will be doing more than anyone else to expand the game. And the PGA Tour will copy you, of course, so they'll be helping too. And that really will expand the game, because I, for one, as a amateur player who likes the game, I think that'd be awesome. I think more people playing would be great. It's a great game, and that would expand the R&A's influence and the traditions and all the things that they're interested in, which are great things to be interested in. And yeah, we could have another Open Championship at St. Andrews another 150 years from now, and that would be awesome. So more to say on that maybe in the future, but I wanted to get this in now. Any closing thoughts on any of that?
Well, I think the one thing that I always have said that, I'm struggling to figure out how they're going to do it, and I think it's just they need to create a rivalry between LIV and PGA, because you have to energize or grow your base. That's what has kind of happened with some of the decline in golf, as the generation, the baby boomers getting old and they can't play golf anymore. the younger generation is not energized, and how do you continue to, how do you get the next generation to play? I don't have a good answer for that because, as I've said, I don't know what 30-year-olds are out there doing. I know you love the gambling aspect, but I think there needs to be a rivalry and there needs to be superstars. And I think, LIV's doing a good job just at least putting these guys on the same financial plane as a Tom Brady, as a superstar pitcher in the major leagues, etc. So
those are all right. That's on track. I think I'm making this connection in my mind as I assemble these breadcrumbs and try to give our audience some insights that they're not hearing elsewhere, that are out over the horizon a little bit. Hopefully, out over the horizon a little bit. It's the way that the gambling will unfold, integrated into the telecast, into that streaming video, with the stats on screen, on the sidebar, on a crawl, and all the data that's available, because they're tracking the ball everywhere, on every hole, every shot, and you can watch your group. Ed mentioned that there'll be enough cameras all over, robotic cameras, that you can follow your player and the bet that you're watching. You just follow that. You don't need to watch the rest of the tournament, and all of that will impart a sense of a video game. It's not a video game, obviously. You're not controlling the action, but it is highly, I don't want to say interactive, that's not true, not literally true, but it is interactive in a sense that you are glued to the screen because you are interested in you winning your wager and seeing how the player is performing so that you can make another wager on the next hole. Maybe you just move off that match between those two guys and go to some other group. So you're going to be plugged in. And you have mentioned in the past that horse racing used to be a big deal. We've said that off the air. Maybe this has a little bit of that element where, you're glued to the thing. And there's all these races to look at. It's not a great, perfect analogy, but I think it'll push some buttons with younger potential viewers because of the video game sort of look and feel to it.
I think we're moving. We have a world economy now. We're going to have world sports, soccer, Formula One.
We already do, yeah, with
golf,
soccer for sure.
They're going to be world sports. And, the PGA needs to adapt to that. Back, like I said, the biggest sports before World War II were actually boxing and horse racing. And obviously those are, boxing, I haven't seen a
and
boxing
golf.
match in forever.
And golf.
And golf was big. But those were local sports. They were easily... boxing and horse racing, they were easily broadcast on radio. And, now it's hard to drag a horse race out for a half-hour show, right?
Yeah.
Boxing went to pay-per-view. That killed that.
One UFC taken over.
Yeah.
That's a great point. We didn't mention that, but the rise of TV has changed dramatically the professional sporting environment for sure, because some sports are way better for TV than others, and no question about it. Baseball's the only one that's persisted, along with golf, those two. Others have risen and fallen, and we'll sneak it in right here at the end as we're going to wrap up. It takes us a while to wrap up a show. The NBA and the NFL, which are the two biggest entertainment properties in sport globally. Well, from America, because Formula One and soccer is also huge,
much bigger.
And yes. I don't really know which one ranks number 1, 2, 3, 4, but NFL, NBA are big things, big properties all around the world, and they're great for TV. They're in a contained environment. You can play in any weather, pretty much. Rain doesn't stop it. Snow doesn't stop it. It's inside if you're in the NBA. You have lighting. You have a grid. You have a confined space. It's easy to set up. From a production point of view, it's a tailor-made sport for a television, for a small box to watch it on. And golf is spread out, but I think with new technology, as you've said, TrackMan and things like that, and robotic cameras that can follow everybody all the time, it may become just as interesting even though it is weather dependent, and that's a problem they can't overcome. Because as a production company, you don't want to put a lot of money into something that can be rained out. That's a big deal for that. But maybe streaming takes care of that because streaming is more nimble. But we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Last comments? Anything you want to tack on to that?
I just want to be Dr. Darkstar for just a second here. I really wish we'd get the politics out of sports so people can just enjoy it. People from the left, people from the right. I don't have to hear headlines that are, vilifying left or right-wing politicians before they have to talk about a sporting event or comment on a sporting event or do their blog and get their blog out 30 seconds after the event's over. And to grab headlines, they got to bring politics in. That's a wish. I don't know. It's probably never going to happen, but it is a wish.
So noted. I think a lot of people would share that wish. Yeah. Sports is a great outlet from the daily grind, right?
From your work, and yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll be touching on a lot of those issues that are far more intertwined with governments and politics and such, because this is not a show about golf, but we'll get into energy and power and things like that. There's no shortage of big issues circulating right now, but we'll get to that future show.
All right, that's the great. I can't wait to get to it actually. So.
Yes, I know. We'll have to rein you in.
May fire me up.
You should warn the audience. You got to audience be warned that there's going to be some hard cuts. You're going to wonder what happened. Like, wait a minute, he was in the middle of a sentence and it disappeared. What happened? And
when the screen goes black.
Yeah. What's going to have to happen? Well, what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to create a separate channel, pay-per-view sort of thing, where you can go in and get all the outtakes, because there's a lot of good stuff in there.
Yeah.
But it's not mainstream YouTube type content. Different stuff for a different platform. But we'll get there. Okay. We can't build it all in one day. But that will be fun because Dr. Darkstar can't wait to get into some of those issues. I'm going to have to put the vest on him and just reel him in. No, you can't say that. You can't say that. But that'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
Good.
So to future fun. All right, let's wrap it up. You ready to go?
I'm out.
All right, Darkstar is out. I am out. I will see you shortly, hopefully, for another episode of the Thinking Man Show. That's all for this video. For Dr. Darkstar and me, thanks for watching. This is a show about finding logical conclusions, and we appreciate you coming along with us. We'll be adding episodes as fast as we can. There's certainly no shortage of things going on in this world.